Hey y'all, welcome back to our fourth and final video of our Bible story series. Now in the last video we saw how Jesus was this great ruler. He claimed to be the ruler from Genesis 3:15 and he proved it with his death and his resurrection. But we haven't seen the great victory yet. Yeah, we have a victory over death, but he hasn't reversed the curse of death for all men yet. We've seen how Jesus is the ruler, but he hasn't quite defeated Satan yet. Satan is still ruling over this world. And Jesus himself hasn't ruled yet. I mean, we could say that he's ruling in a theological sense, but in the story, he hasn't ruled yet. According to God's character, he hasn't ruled Israel. He hasn't ruled the world. And so we're going to watch this final victory in the book of Revelation. So in the book of Revelation, obviously we see that Jesus defeats the great beast, the serpent, Satan. Satan is coming after Israel, and Israel is depicted as the woman who is giving birth to a male child. So it's Israel who is giving birth to this male ruler who is promised. And the serpent or the dragon is pursuing this woman and trying to kill her and trying to kill the child. And this is the story of the Bible, this enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Satan's been trying to kill Israel so he could kill the ruler. Because of Abraham, God's promise to Abraham, this ruler was going to come from Israel. And so in the book of Revelation, this is the beast's final effort to kill Israel to prevent the ruler from returning. However, Jesus does return. And he comes back not just to prove himself as the ruler, but he comes back as the ruler. And he comes back and he defeats Satan once and for all. He defeats the serpent. He crushes him. He locks him up in a deep, dark pit. And so there's this final battle scene, the Battle of Armageddon, and the final victory of Jesus crushing this serpent. But not just that. Right after that, Jesus sets up a kingdom on the earth in the heart of Israel in Jerusalem. And he rules over Israel like it was promised to Abraham, as it was said the whole time. He rules over Israel and over the earth for 1,000 years, proving that the true image bearer of God, Jesus, this great ruler, is going to rule over the earth just like God said he would back in Genesis. So we have this great 1,000-year reign, which is just that final victory, that final resolution. And not just that, but in that 1,000-year kingdom, Jesus raises believers from the dead. True believers who are now image bearers of God with Jesus. And they're ruling with him. And so he's now defeated death. And he's resurrected those who believe in him from the dead. And he's defeated Satan. And he's ruling just like Adam failed to rule. He's ruling perfectly. So we have this great, great resolution. But that's still not the end of the story. We still have to see the garden. And so in the end, we see the new Jerusalem, the new heavens and the new earth. And we see God dwelling on the earth. And in that dwelling, in that new Jerusalem, there's the tree of life, just like back in the garden. And believers, the image bearers, could come and eat freely from that tree of life. And they get to live with God forever and ever, ruling over the earth, just like man was intended to do, in total union with God. And they get to be on this renewed earth in resurrected bodies, image bearers, ruling on his behalf with the ultimate image bearer, Jesus. So how do we fit into that story? That's really the ultimate question. This is a great story, but where do we fit? Well, see, we live between the cross, Jesus' proof of who he was, his resurrection, and we live between that and the final resolution, where Jesus defeats Satan and rules for 1,000 years. And so we live in this faith that Jesus is who he said he was, and we look to the resurrection because he proved it. But we also live with hope that he's going to return and finish the job that he was set out to do, finish the story, defeat the antagonist, rule, fix God's problem. He's going to be the man who's going to rule over the earth just like God wanted in the beginning. And so we look forward to the hope of that. But not just that, we look forward to the fact that he defeated death so that we will be raised from the dead like him. And so that we will not die. And so we look forward, we have this hope. And that hope causes us to persevere. See, now, even though we're not fully in God's image until we're resurrected, we are to live according to the epistles. That's how they fit into the story. We are to live in light of the fact that we will be image bearers. We're to live as if we're already image bearers fully. Now, sure, we're going to mess up, but our job is to persevere through that hardship, that tension between our sinful bodies and ontologically who we are in Christ. We look forward to the resurrection. We know we're going to be full image bearers someday. And that causes us to persevere because we know it's going to happen. So we push through all the sin, we push through all the suffering now, and we wait for Jesus to come back to finish the job. And that's how we fit into God's grand story. And so we have perfect reason to keep on going, to share our faith with others, even in the face of ultimate persecution, even unto death, knowing that Jesus defeated death once and for all. Well, I appreciate you guys coming and subscribing to these videos. I know they weren't perfect, but I hope that they helped you understand and gain a better confidence of the story of the Bible. And you can take this and you can shorten it and you can tell it in just a succinct story about the protagonist and the antagonist and the problem and how God's going to fix that problem through this one new ruler who's going to defeat death. And he did. He defeated Satan, and he's coming back one day to bring us into this final victory with him, to live happily ever after with God on a new heavens and new earth. What a great story that we get to be a part of. Thank you again for watching. I truly hope that this has been helpful to you, and that this will help you to share your faith with others.